Welcome back to the CNBC TV 18 special. We're in conversation with the MD and CEO of Maruti Suzuki, Kenichi Ayukawa, as the company gears up to sell 2 million and more by 2020 and beyond. Thank you very much once again for speaking with us. So we are meeting for the first time since the government finally, now we know the GST rates and all that.
Yes.
How big a moment is it for the auto industry, sir? Tell me.
Totally, that the auto industry wise, that the GST rate framework itself is very acceptable, I believe. But already some claim there that why the hybrid is that increasing ratio under that kind of the condition. We have to ask that those kind of point, and we are expecting that some review at those kind of point. In order to be developed that environment friendly product, we need the government understanding those kind of part.
In fact, the Revenue Secretary was on our channel, sir, and he did indicate that they are open to reviewing the hybrid. So that would be...
It's a very pleasure for us,
Yeah.
But for me, for us, it's very strange. Only the hybrid that increase the tax. Other that a little bit decrease of the reasonable range. Only forget some treatment of that hybrid. At that point, I expect the government to review that.
So is Maruti ready for the July 1st rollout of GST?
As far as the government decides, we have to follow. But transfer period, some confusion happened. That point we are requesting government support for total industry.
So what kind of support, sir,
because
would you want?
We have to dispatching a vehicle that June or before July. Still, stock is available in the network, right?
Okay.
How are we going to treat it, those kind of the stock? That is that little bit concerned area. We have to communicate the government well and that fairly treated those kind of stuff. That is very important for us.
That's an important point you're making, sir. GST auto industry has been wanting for a long time, but considering how complex and multi-layered, multi-tiered the auto industry is, you are there, you have your suppliers, sub-suppliers, everybody needs to be in sync with GST for the GST to work. So are you working with your suppliers?
Of course. Before already GST decided the framework itself, we communicate all suppliers, not only tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 level, and try to explain the framework and the concept, and then to requesting preparation, etc. I think our value chain, value chain itself that ready that, but tax rate fixed, the detail will be coming. But as I said, that we need some reviewing point, requesting it to request the government. That could be the very, very important for next 1 month.
Absolutely. So you mentioned about hybrids, and especially now that Suzuki, Toshiba, and Denso have announced a joint venture for lithium-ion batteries. Can you give me an update, sir? When do we see the company will probably be set up this year itself, but when does the plant go? When does it become operational?
Yeah, because it depends on the condition that
Yeah.
If tax framework will change it, that we are friendly system coming, of course we try to go forward. But otherwise we have to sustain some time this project itself. But not yet. We cannot mention anything. But this is a very sensitive timing. We are expecting government to a good decision.
Right. So you will now review the plan for lithium-ion battery in the context of
we are waiting.
We are waiting.
Yeah, decision by the government.
So so you're not going to start the factory before you have
already
some
the
clarity.
Start work itself, it takes time. Company set up and also the planning and etc. Also actual construction, it takes time. Application by the government, something like that. Those kind of things that are very, very important. But before then, we have to make sure that the government policy itself. That is a very clear, important point.
And you would hope the government reviews that?
Yes, of course, I think so. I believe so.
Right. So what is the potential then, sir, for hybrid cars? Because that, many believe that this is going to be Maruti Suzuki's biggest challenge now. I mean, you've had a great run.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
now the industry is changing. Government is focusing more on hybrid and electric, especially electric vehicles. This is the big challenge. Is Maruti ready for this big challenge?
I think that we are ready because technology itself, the Suzuki already have. How we're going to implement those kind of technology here? Also making India localized component, those kind of thing with our challenge, right? It takes a time, and we have to prepare a lot of things. It is very difficult from tomorrow, everything will change, right? It takes us 3 years, 4 years, sometimes 5 years, 10 years, something like that. Gradually, we have to prepare in order to, along with the government policy, like Make in India. I believe that is a very important policy. Realize that the concept of the Make in India. It means as far as the importing something, and we have to just assemble it, that doesn't make sense. In order to affordable cost manufacturing, we have to make a localized lot of things. That kind of challenge, we already had 35 years, those kind of challenge. I think a new scheme, we have to challenge once again to, even though that hybrid, EV, etc., etc.
Is that one of the biggest challenges for the industry now, sir, having to suddenly adjust to this government's thrust on electric vehicles? I mean, look at the roadmap government laid out. I mean, it's very ambitious.
That's why. That means that we have to establish a practical program to preparing those kind of future.
Right.
Yeah. It is very difficult to a few days, few months discuss and set up something like that. Reality is different, right? That's why we have to carefully to discuss, concerned people, government, industry, etc.
Couple of last things. So you've had a tremendous run as a CEO. Your market share has grown by over 10 percentage points. What next in the coming 3 to 4 years? You've said 2 million by 2020.
Yeah.
But what are the other things that you would? I mean, out of 2 million, tell me in the next category, for instance, how many do you think your premium cars will contribute out of 2 million? And what are the other things, challenges that you've set for yourself?
I think that internally I have. I didn't disclose that.
Okay, that's all right.
But anyway,
openly
because of 2 million to 2020, that is our official target. In order to achieve that, through that, I believe that some target will be clear. I believe. But important 2020, 2 million. That is very, very important for us.
If you grow by 15% this year, that means another 240,000 odd units. Okay, by the end of FY18. That means if you keep growing at that pace, you'll probably be able to reach 2 million slightly before 2020. Is that a possibility?
It is happy for me, I don't deny that early achievement, but reality is not so easy, right?
Finally, sir, as far as Gujarat, you've already said that you're trying to fast track the second manufacturing line. So can you give us an update? When do we see that going upstream then?
Going up, already you can see that from outside. You can see that the pillars standing it, Everybody understands, just this condition will be completed 1.5 years, will be almost at the factory. That could be the very, expecting schedule. But I don't know what happened in the near future. That depends on that. We are expecting that within 2 years, coming to the second line. Third line also after 1 year, 1.5 years.
So both second and third line then will be pushed forward. That's your
hopefully,
effort.
Yeah. Hopefully, we would like expecting. But depend on the market condition, etc. Maybe becomes earlier or later, backed.
We'll take a call on that later. Ayukawa-san, always a pleasure. Wish you all the luck, and may your next 3 years be as fruitful, perhaps even more fruitful than the first 3.
I hope so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.